the state that took over a month to count the presidential votes might be caught flat-footed by a fire. In the plus column, though, Governor Gavin Newsom plays a mean fiddle. Folks, there's posing atop corpses, as with the aftermath of every mass shooting of the past 20 years. And then there's this.
What is the situation with water? Obviously, in Palisades ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter in this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out.
See, local people will figure it all out. Families can fight their own fires. Maybe Hobo Jim can fentanyl shuffle off to the beach to bail out your bungalow one bucket of seawater at a time. But one thing we know for a mortal certainty, it won't be ciphered out by the mayor of L.A., who long after the earliest embers that engulfed all of Pacific Palisades in an inferno was just a bit busy flying to Africa.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up, please? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? Madam Mayor, let me ask you just again, have you anything to say to the citizens today as you return?
No. They're gonna come.
Ma'am, hold on 1 second.
Madam Mayor, just a few words for the citizens today as you return to deal with the catastrophe.
Can you take this down?
If you want rent that's higher than Snoop Dogg and a standard of living lower than Biden's nuts, run, don't walk to Los Angeles. Not to save time, but because otherwise you'll be shot. And I'll just be direct as a laser missile here, folks. And you asshats can feel free to dislike the video at whim. The only people who need to take a long look in the mirror right now are Californians themselves. Not the mayor, not the governor, not the damn dog catcher. These people were elected, re-elected, and even saved from recall as recently as 2021 to do exactly this. When Gavin Newsom was plucked from the slavering maw of unemployment in 2021, he already had over 100 active lawsuits against the Trump administration, including to uphold the environmental regulations that led to the lack of water to fight this fire. It was easier for you lead paint pounding Uber imbeciles to entertain the fiction that Larry Elder was the black face of white supremacy than to confront the consequences of your own clannish idiocy. It's a bitter bitch to swallow, but medicine often is. This is the net result of appalling urban planning projects, internecine authoritarianism, and uninterrupted one-party rule. This was utterly preventable. California repeatedly elected not to prevent it. No one had to consult a Ouija board or commune with any long-dead ancestors to predict this eventuality. This was so appallingly obvious, Trump predicted it in a half-dozen campaign appearances and even on the Rogan podcast, a podcast I would remind you whose own host has been warning of this issue if environmental regulations are not brought down to some semblance of sanity.
They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north. Water, more water than they could ever use. The head of Austria tells me, we have trees that are much more flammable than what you have in California. We never have forest fires because they maintain their forests. And you have all that water that could be used. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. And all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up. And they don't want to clean up their forests because they have environmental problems in cleaning it up. It should be the opposite, because you're going to lose your forest. You'll lose it. But it's costing our country hundreds of billions of dollars because of incompetence in California. So the people, I'm speaking now for the people of California, they don't want to see this happen. They're getting destroyed. One thing I'm going to do for California, vote for me, California. I'm going to give you safety. I'm going to give you a great border. And I'm going to give you more water than almost anybody has.
California's response was to sue Trump even harder. Over the course of his first term, the state of California sued Donald Trump on average once every 12 days. By